Why I draw your attention to this case is need a little help here, you know? Yeah, like when tackling obvious issues that, you know, see a major problem behind, especially when, you know, it affects two people's lives to the point of, life threatening. And I'll explain how it's life threatening in a little bit. But when the housing staff had organized some type of a playbook of events that really, should never take place. And hopefully, by addressing this type of thing won't happen to anyone again. And people could be aware of it, aware of this type of occurrence, because never in all my days have I ever expected such criminality of a professional place that is essentially tied in with the government, not elected, but still funded by the government. So, yeah, usually when it comes to your home, you want to feel safe. That means trusting the people around you. For one thing, trusting your neighbors, right? Which I do. Once I have a problem with anyone except a couple of drunks that threatened me. And that was kind of the problem when on the 10th I get threatened. Then receive a letter on the 19th saying I was doing threatening when the guy witnessed me get threatened. And we could find on CCTV. I mean, the closed caption television footage should have picked that up. If there is no sound, I understand. But you obviously see a fairly tall, average size, medium build, kind of heavy set, medium build, not overweight, Caucasian male with long, kind of greasy hair, like to be descriptive, to be accurate. Because again, calling him Caucasian, it isn't racist, and that's the same as calling someone Asian isn't racist. So, if we're to take a look at that CCTV footage, we will clearly see this male approaching me fairly rapidly, threatening, looking like he's quite angry over my conversation with the BC housing worker that I've been told is named Merritt, but that's just in the letters. I also heard the BC housing manager for this building was named Mike Savick. So I'm wondering, is that him? Because I thought that Mike Savick was this shaved head guy that liked to hunt and was always kind of puttering around doing his thing in army fatigues. I thought that he was married, but just because I think one time I seen him with a broom or something. I'm not sure, but for the longest time I thought that was Mike Savick. If this other fellow happens to be him that they're calling Merritt, not sure about the dual identity thing. So I have never been given any contact information regarding Mike Savick anyway. So the name just arrives from being informed. And as I said, on September 19th, getting this letter, saying aggressive behavior towards staff, that's it's a bold-faced lie. It's not my character. I was upset when I was talking to him, upset about his second annual damage report, the condition inspection report, which is dated 08/blank slash 2024. Whereas the original yearly inspection report, the condition inspection report from February 6, 2000, or February 6, 2/24, which 2024, it is mainly all ones. A couple of twos where the floor says clutter, but as I go for condition, how could the floor be damaged in that regard? That's, I don't know. So he got me to sign the bottom that I had witnessed it. I acknowledge that it exists. That I have a copy. All right. It was an agreement. I didn't have to agree with it, but this second yearly inspection, when I initialed it on the same premise, he turned around and said that I agreed to it. But no, I didn't agree to it. It's just, I know it exists. It's there. And that's what I'm afraid of, because it's definitely a life-threatening ordeal. When someone, and I hadn't met him before, this guy named Merritt, I didn't really know nothing about him. He seemed so angry and aggressive when he was storming around almost, just furious. I never seen a look in someone's eyes like that before. It was very, very awkward, especially when he described the stove as a 4, which means completely damaged. I even got in the letter that I was addressing when I got threatened by Donnie, addressing the August 27th occasion, which would have been the previous one, which was a final warning regarding this inspection report, saying personal items, food scraps, garbage were scattered throughout the unit's floor, which wasn't the case. Debris and animal waste were found splattered all over the toilet. How do we get debris on the toilet? I don't have a pet. This guy just, he seriously, is an attack. Complete attack. And I tried just explaining this to anyone, and then I just get letters like hate mail threatening me with eviction, where it's like, excuse me, what? And the problem is, though, even this morning when I was working on the video to show everything, there was some type of hacking that went on. That's checked with Apple, and they said that it had to do with the proximity thing, meaning a distance away. The distance is away from you. In other words, they maintain that apples cannot be hacked. However, it was deleted along with other things, and as well, this has gone on for some time. I've taken screenshots numerous times regarding it saying, the storage being full. However, if the storage was actually full on the device, it wouldn't be able to take a screenshot because it just wouldn't, save. Think about it. As well, I've made videos of where I try and delete something and it'll disappear and then reappear. Or, so Apple Store told me it had to do with proximity, some type of device you could probably buy online. Nothing that I'd look into myself. I'm not into that, but that means that's close by. That means it's like, someone in the building, and they were going after the statement I was giving regarding this issue. Because before I got this inspection report that included a fan, that in the first inspection report has NA, meaning we don't have a fan in the kitchen, okay? We don't. But here, the guy did just hallucinate a fan there, and even described it as damaged. described the fridge with a 2 is damaged, sink countertops damaged. Like, what does that mean? Cupboards, drawers, got 3. I mean, is he trying to describe to someone who hasn't seen it that Rottweiler chewed him apart? Like, come on, like, but they're still like, you can open the drawers and close the cupboards. Like, it's not quite 4 yet. Usually a 4 or a 3 would relate to a fire that had taken place and completely damaged the entire unit, unless this is actually what he's planning. If he is planning on, burning my unit down, probably when I'm still in it, because, like I said, he said the tub surrounding, it was a 3 again. How could that get so damaged? Vanity sink taps 2, toilet bowl 4. That means like it's broken, a little chip off the side, like actually damaged. A light fan in the bathroom, a 3. Thing works perfectly fine. Like, there is no fan in there for one thing, but the light works fine. So how could it get 3? The paint being a 4 describes it as being vandalized with spray paint, but honestly, no, that's not how it is. Whereas we look back at the paint here, it says 2 on the first condition inspection report. That happened this year. It's supposed to be annually, like not twice a year, but one time a year. So here we are taking a look at, the lights being damaged, and the paint being so damaged, the floor being a 4. Like, in the case of the place being burned down, like, there's no gouges or pieces missing. Like, it's not only in perfect condition, but, maybe he was pointing out for it. He was thinking about doing something down the road, like, because just the other night, when it seemed like an attack, there was visible burns on the floor where permeable light and the properties of light clearly state that there's transmittable light that will pass through substances. And in this case, for some reason, I got burned, cuts all over my lower body. And, I did not do this myself. Especially, I had to prove to myself what was going on before I start blaming anyone. I took my leather jacket and was able to block it. And, then the pain stopped immediately. As soon as I blocked it with the leather jacket, meaning that if they were so upset about the wall sockets, because the one wall socket for the phone, for TELUS didn't put back on properly. They're having a little bit of trouble with being able to thread the screw or something. If there's mini cameras hidden there, or they're able to, if they go between walls, I'm not 100% sure. But I do know there is a crawl space, maintenance crawl space underneath each unit, which it's not that big of a crawl space. They just slide around on their backs on the little skate to be able to get to places, I imagine. I haven't been there yet, no. But as I described, I have taken a video of an open ceiling that shows a big gap. But, that only describes, that there is space in there. So, thing is, though, I get this type of report that'll last with me all my life if I don't get this cleared. Okay, and then I wouldn't be able to ever get a place to live. That winds me on the street, and on the street for life, and on the street for life means not for that long, because when winter's coming, you get sick with COVID or something, in the 20 below. I mean, it's not like a tent or I'm prepared for this at all. We just got robbed. And that's what I was addressing. When I brought up what happened to the investigation BC Housing was supposed to provide, I haven't heard anything back. Guy got triggered, wrote me the nastiest report of lies. And then every time I'm like trying to clear this up, then it gets twisted around and I receive letters like I did on, the 27th of August, 24th of September, and the 19th of September as well. I was just kind of jumping back there. But this original final warning, August 27th, describes compost waste, generic waste, recyclables removed from the floor, and recyclables removed from the floor. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I had recyclables by the garbage can. Clothing and other miscellaneous unsanitary removed from the floors. Oh, that's what they expect. Okay. It says, we have not seen any NU decluttering and cleaning your unit. Well, this is a pretty, spiffy unit. I wouldn't call it cluttered at all, but what do they mean by we have not seen any NU decluttering and cleaning your unit? Are they watching? Are they monitoring every little thing I say? And kind of makes me wonder because when I was working on this explanatory, it got deleted and is phone tampering or however it'd be described. I'm sure that you can get these proximity disruptors or whatever it is that they're using online. Again, like I said, I only looked it up with questions. How would this ever occur? And this is a modern age now. These type of things happen to be available, whether we've heard of it or not. They are available out there, and people use it for times like this, things like this, and for reasons like this. And how it's life-threatening for my common-law wife, Alice, who I love with all my heart, and I just want her to come home, is that, she got blamed for the apartment being unsanitary was the term they use. In a video that her parents made where her dad smashes a few things, like right in the beginning of the video, he flips over a bunch of either plates or picture frames with glass. I think he smashes right into our glass coffee table. I'm not sure, but there's a big crash. He didn't seem to care. He seemed pretty proud of it. And in that video right after, and he's showing the wall and all that, which, of course, since then I've cleaned. I mean, if that was his Machiavellian art, was dirtying up the walls, makes you think. Especially when, it pans over, shows the table that used to have a box of camera cases on. Now it has one of the cameras, only one out of the four, and a bunch of miscellaneous cages, because we had the small size cages and the large size cages. The large size cages were for when the battery packs were on. The battery packs are dual batteries. It's got the upgrade on thing, makes it D1 size. They're Canon R mirrorless DSLR cameras with RF lenses, and even had a special lens that was an ED AFS 200 milliliter to 400 millimeter VR 1.4, like perfecture, or whatever you call it, like G. And that was a VR, one of those long lenses, heavy as you could ever imagine. And I actually was trying to get rid of it, but the thing was actually price listed $15,000. This is why no one would buy it, but it being Nikon Nikkor, and myself having, Canon full frames. It was a small, it was a half frame, like I said, an AFS, which, but an ED, meaning very, very, professional. I had to have adapters. I had two adapters on it, and but all the other RFs, they had like lenses, UV lenses, and the B&W lenses as well. But they're polarized lenses, a UV lens and the polarized lens, both B&W lenses. So brings me back to that issue. Like the whole place was claimed to be destroyed, almost like they're planning on doing it later after they try and scare me out of the house, because getting threats like these, where it's like, oh my God, what are they saying about me? And then when taking a look at this, it says breach material term in your tenancy contract. It's like, what? BC Housing has the right to work and live in an environment that is free from intimidation, threats, behaviors. Yeah, well, I've never been threatening. That's just being described as such, just for asking, hey, well, how's that investigation coming along? Like that amped this vile report. It isn't threats. And especially, when things are taken out of context, like when they tried saying I was being racist for describing Michael Ho as seeming like a Asian gang. Well, if BC Housing's a gang, yeah, and as I said earlier, calling someone Caucasian isn't racist. Is Asian calling someone Asian racist? How? It describes two different skin tones. It's like I can't describe race at all. So, but yeah, if it seemed like that was too harsh of a word, well, I'm describing something accurately. Get the picture in your head, okay? Like, I'm getting threatened for giving an accurate description. It's like, yeesh. And mentioning that they had accents, it's only to identify. And obviously they don't want to be identified when, I don't exactly know who this Mike Savick is. I thought he was the hunter guy with all the camouflage on for a long, long time. And then all of a sudden, they're calling the guy who's taking the place of building manager. I guess he's a building manager. I don't know. But calling him Merritt. If Merritt happened to have been actually named Mike, just, a modern local spelling, or if this is a way of doing cover up and, misdirection. I mean, wow. So, yeah, when I had mentioned about deportation and, arrests and stuff like that, like saying, you're not going to jail, you're getting deported if, it shouldn't be a problem, that's just informing. Wasn't threatening. Like when, say, criminals come from overseas, land here in the country, and set up shop to, take advantage of the vulnerable. In the case where, I'm sure this is a dream place for them, a retirement home in the poorest part of town. I mean, they probably thought it was a smorgasbord of vulnerable, and they're craving that vulnerable, but they didn't count on me having the capacity and being venerable, meaning a very good person. And I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to describe properly what is taking place here, because I have injuries, physical injuries, that when I get woken up in the middle of the night and like something is just burning my leg, and a leather jacket, held, as a shield, actually blocks that laser, which it was laser because you can find them online, especially if you have any intuition to anything. Now, you cannot call it a bed bug bite because it's a cauterized wound. It lines up with how I describe to find an image of what bed bug bites even look like online. I'm sure they probably appear to be like a spider bite or something, right? Or a mosquito bite, possibly. Not sure. If they actually like chew off all the flesh in the area, it wouldn't be a circular. No, it'd be a nice big, missing chunk. Like someone ran in here with a knife and cut off a piece of me. But that hasn't been the case, and I haven't seen any bed bugs. I haven't been bothered by them at all. I had actually taken a bed bug the one time. I was able to captive one when it appeared like the issue was being, brought by the bedbug company who plant their pests as a way of making money and creating their own industry. I'd, notably caught them in that little crawl space, the maintenance crawl space, right? Placing them by hand in through an opening, in the corner of the room. And it almost looked like they had a little device where they launched one and then was placing the other in by hand slowly. And, you even hear a little click like, they're flinging it. Not cool. But, if this is practice that they do, because they're using that little crawl space to go where the mice come out, the hole, wherever that is, and shoot their laser beam to hit me. That means that they're watching me all the time, and that's not cool. Getting injured here. That's not cool that they're watching all the time. Even in their letter where it says, "We have not seen any in you decluttering and cleaning." That's them admitting to having the ability of watching, especially when they go after things on my phone. Think about it, not even describable as espionage or voyeurism. It's far worse than that, far worse. But here in the September 19th letter, there's a statement here that says, violence means the attempted or actual exercise by a person other than the worker. Okay, that's the problem there, because it describes clearly that they believe that violence can be attempted and exercised by the worker, because it goes on to say it includes any threatening statement or behavior which gives a worker reasonable cause to believe he or she is at risk of injury, which it doesn't say anything about the tenants. So it just comes up that violence means the attempted or actual exercise by a person other than the worker, and includes any threatening statement or behavior which gives a worker reasonable cause to believe he or she is at risk of injury. Well, obvious fact, I'm injured, okay? They think that they could do that type thing. And no, I have no intention of doing it to them. I don't want to join in their game of hurting each other. Like, we're not in a war or anything. Like, I want my stuff back. I want my common law wife, Alice, back too. Because when I got the notice to near relative that she was in involuntary in RCH, and this happened in September last year. Like last year, would you believe it? That's quite a bit of time. I myself went in there and I got denied visitation rights. I was like, well, I'm supposed to be contacted by you guys. I'm the family member contact that's got notified here. So while I was there, I wanted to get my feet checked because back home I had made videos of this heat gun activity, which was burning my feet. And I had used these crystal healing stones underneath that lit up like light bulbs from them doing this. These heat guns, again, you can find them online along with those laser beams, like seriously, not so disprovable. It's a fact that they look like work tools. So the maintenance people that have these, call them work tools, go to work on people because there's not much maintenance the building actually needs. Not much maintenance at all. Like, this is what they do with their time instead. To make extra money, I guess. They think that stealing from people is earning it. Well, our lives are at risk, okay? So I ended up in a hospital where, I had my, come to the emergency, asked to have my bums and my feet checked. I got led back into the back room, told to sit down, wait for a physician, would be in to see me momentarily, and then an angry woman who just, looked enraged, like staring at me, just enraged, snarling with a big frown, just like, "Arr." And it seemed like forever. She was just glaring at me until she snapped and said, "You're under that." And it's like, what? I came here for my feet. They brought me back here to get checked. Anyway, I went the entire time that up until last week, like a month and a half, up until last week, where last week I was in there, I happened to catch a physician, got him to look at my feet. He told me I needed medicated cream and bandages because my feet were lacerated. Still open wounds for those, of the month and a half that I was in there suffering, like without any treatment. So, like no medical treatment, which, is pretty bad. Seems like a major case of neglect, especially when, they do this type of thing. And ever since then, I haven't been able to have communication with the doctors or nurses regarding Alice. They moved her to UBC. And when they had moved her, then they changed the rent check here. I wasn't receiving our $1,800 in the bank for the both of us after that time had passed. Is like, I believe, and I can go check, that happened in December, right? Which means that the whole timing of when they had filed Alice to have not been on the title anymore, the title of the lease, right? The whole timing of that, seemed all disproportionate because when I had my feet checked and I was to be let out after about a week's time, letting him heal, right, and sorting out the who I'm going to see in the community regarding the extended leave care. Which wound up Dr. Zhao, who, when I got on a review panel, he began lying about the effects of the medication to the panel of judges, and it was over. I was off that, which, happened to be very much weight gaining. And I'll get into what the problem is with the anticholinergic treatments a bit later, but getting back to where I kind of veered from. The issue of the last week, all of a sudden, I get informed that, BC Housing needs in to our apartment to be able to take the mattress because it was infested with bed bugs, but neither Alice or I made any at all mention of bed bugs. We weren't experiencing that. In fact, for that month and a half, no one was even in that bed. Who's reporting the bed bugs? And they couldn't even get in. So they were requesting the key from me because they thought that I had changed locks when the tip of my key broke off in the door. And I was the only one who could get in. I tried telling him that I'll be in about 1 week, go in. But because, I kind of looking forward. The mattress was completely, like sacked. Okay, like they promised that they're gonna, replace the mattress, which they took the entire bed. Like not just a mattress. They took the entire bed, never replaced it. In fact, more than the bed they took. Like the couch was gone. It's like, why? Then, not just a couch, but our cameras, a guitar, $6,000 guitar, close to $10,000 laptop bought from Apple. It was maxed out with everything for film editing. That was our business. Like the 4 Canon R mirrorless DSLR cameras. I had 5, but I did sell one because I just need surround cameras. Surround as in each corner to be able to catch things live on location for capturing live shows, theater, music production, and whatnot, which was the main part of our business. Is really fun. Like we're very social, and by doing that, we help out a lot with. Entertainment community was booked up 5 days solid until the pandemic cut it off and everything got shut down. Things were on the roll. Okay, so yeah, and living down here in Vancouver, I was planning and expecting to do, and still is planning and expecting to do when I kept my stuff back because addressing the issue about what happened to the BC housing investigation I was told about. I held tight, waiting up until just a couple months ago when all of a sudden they overreacted because obviously they want to get away with some robbery where they tried human trafficking. Alice, and by the way, when involved with this because it ties it all in because. When the door got opened by this locksmith that they billed to us, okay, we had to pay for their entry. Apparently, Alice's parents were like waiting at the door right there because they're the ones that took the video. Even when the bed was still here, right? Which describes that they got in before the BC Housing who hired the locksmith that we had to pay for, which kind of ties things in because the guy must have went on a rampage. In the video, he's still smashing things like in the bedroom. In the video, it shows one like a chair flipped over. That just shows a rampage had taken place, and although. The place had been completely, devastating. It was completely messed up. It seemed more staged. Okay, it seemed staged. And this is something in their characteristic because I did catch them staging the bathroom at the basement suite when Alice and I lived there and escaped their abuse because when they're staging the bathroom with stuff out of the toilet, they're taking pictures, and I caught them early one morning and asked them, "What are you going to do with that footage? Like, like the bathroom didn't look like that before. Like, you guys, staged this," and they just like, it's like, oh my god. Did I knock a retard's ice cream cone on the ground? Why is she acting like this? Hey, that type of language is acceptable when it describes accurately. In my community of generationals, we understand these terms. It's nothing to be triggered about, right? Trust me, it's an accurate description because that's what it seemed like. And he has been described as autistic, which, I guess so. But they tried their Munchausen syndrome by proxy and tried describing Alice as being autistic, which no way she is at all. I want her to get off the anticholinergic treatments because they induce illness and hallucinations, nightmares and delirium, ADHD, disorganized thinking. It cuts down your capacity on how to do things and such, and people wind up doing clozapine shuffle, which, that's a severe nerve disorder because your immune system and your nervous system both at the same time get affected when an anticholinergic stops vitamin uptake, and you can't receive vitamin B3 anymore, or B12. Like B12 is a modulator, B3 is how it works. This has to do with our blood. That's why it relates to the endocrine system of hormone neurotransmitter messengers through the stem cell migration, which ultimately takes the immune system out of the bones and into red blood cells, the erythrocytes. So when you have like neutropenia, which is your neutrophil count is low, or lymphopenia, where your lymphocytes, that count is low. That essentially means that you have a compromised immune system, because those are your, what we call white blood cells. Okay, and it is a changing of these cells that reach the red blood cell erythrocyte stage, which then, once it's done doing its 6-mediated 1-carbon metabolism through the respiratory system, then it lands to palate and heal a point of inflammation, which we usually see as a scabbing, because it's the flesh creating of. And because through our lymphatic system in our endocrine system is where our peripheral nervous system connects to the endocrine system. And, not to leave out the exocrine system, because that is related to our pheromone communication, which is our thought reactions being transmersed over to others who read us, and they get an understanding of how we feel, I guess, and what we're thinking. It's how all the animals communicate. That's normal ESP. That's how we define telepathy. It's nothing unthinkable. It's scientifically proven, but which I found kind of strange that Alice's dad, who claims to be a scientist, but however, doesn't acknowledge this fact that most teenagers in grade 10 or grade 11 are usually taught about their hormones, because they're going through changes and they should know about our hormones and pheromones, our endocrine system and our exocrine system. So essentially, that was one of the things that he was so harsh on Alice about. Like, didn't make sense, it's like I thought people like believing in telepathy or ESP because it shows that they have an empathy where they reciprocate the ideology that you're communicating and understand. If one doesn't understand the meaning of the word understand, or understand the meaning of words, and thinks that understand is a 2-part word of you're standing and what's under, which would relate to the world but itself. But an understanding is it is described as, in its meaning, knowing a meaning, right? So whereas involuntary is non-consensual, right? Non-consensual is how we describe rape. Involuntary is also how we label slavery. Involuntary servitude is modern slavery. Involuntary is basically everything against your will that you don't want, and if you wanted it, it would be voluntary. So involuntary remains as just inconsistent with every provision of our Constitution of Canada, that is in our Canadian Charter of Freedoms and Rights, Rights and Freedoms. However it's published by whatever year. I think it was 1981 that the signing of that came into play. But we also had a 2024 Supply Chains Act, which was aimed at removing slavery and involuntary servitude or involuntary patient. It's still slavery because it's against your will. It's nothing you want, and you're being put to it. So essentially, just pointing out facts here. We shouldn't have involuntary for innocent people in Canada. Her parents, again, they weaponized some delirium and thought Alice to be something that she's not. Or described her as everything they hate, obviously, because what they had said was so unrealistic because they destroyed her Facebook and her Aunt Nancy's Facebook when she had gone over there one night after being informed that her Aunt Nancy Hart had died, which she was very fond of, and the Facebook got destroyed. She got in a lot of trouble from her parents. They freaked out at her about a comment that she made on Facebook on that Facebook page. And I wouldn't say I'm blocked from it because even using a different account, I find it's no longer there. I did find a blank Facebook account that said Nancy Stower, which, that's kind of strange. Not Nancy Hart, however. They said that she died. But the timing of it was right after we were looking online to see, well, what exactly her ring was worth if we were to insure all of our stuff. Okay? This is why we kind of have to sue to get back our stuff, because we had 30 grand insurance applied to our rent when we first started here, when signed up with Igor, who promised us that her parents would not come around here because we got the place on an emergency of escaping abuse, parental abuse, and it's supposed to be our safe haven, and it was for a short time until about maybe just over 2.5 years later when began to notice her parents arriving here as frequent as 2 to 3 times a month, which made me quite nervous. They were not to come into the apartment, however, and then one day they just kind of show up at the door here, and it's like, not cool, especially what we had been through, they kind of had a bit of a problem of kleptomania, where the first time I stayed with Alice in the basement suite, literally, all my clothes I had with me at the time got chalked out just because the knees were ripped. That was a solid, got from the mall. It's Armani. Knees were ripped, made it look like trash, and she chalked it out, and it's like, okay, fine, But she would do this a lot with Alice's clothing as well. I got her a T-shirt that said Coma on it. She loved it. It was for Christmas of all things too, and that went missing. As well as Gucci Mickey T-shirt, like these type of things. They eventually had told us that it was because they're too flashy. So. Very conservative minded, as Alice had once described, but as it were, it was a very disturbing situation. Their flatware and cutlery, all that stuff had thick, layers of dishwasher detergent kind of crusted on, which they are probably ingesting as well. I certainly noticed, took photographs of it, because laundry detergent apparently is hallucinogenic. I wouldn't voluntarily try, because I heard that kids who eat Tide Pods do it to get high. This is what I heard something on the news like years ago. So, just kind of word of the street, common knowledge to be found that, Tide Pods or dish detergent, which two in the same, Tide Pod is dish detergent, could be hallucinogenic, which I don't know if they're anticholinergic. Anticholinergic seems to be selectively that delirium-causing medication, which cannabis definitely is not. It's not listed on the USPharmacist.com select medication-related delirium-causing medications. So, I'm not sure if I got that perfectly right, but to adjust, it's like or it's like delirium causing medication. So, yeah, the medication that causes delirium. That would be antipsychotics. That would be antidepressants. These type of things, they do this by cutting off your nervous system and immune system at the same time. That way it causes so much neurological dysfunctions and such. This is how a psychiatrist makes their money, because psychology, however, there's nothing medical about it. Psychology is education. Psychology is, education for good mental health. The Mental Health Act doesn't say good or bad. It just says Mental Health Act. So we're going to have to make some type of adjustment or abolish that. And I said, that the involuntary thing is, it's inconsistent with the provisions of our Canadian Charter of Rights and our freedoms, because of slavery, after all. Non-consensual is rape. So, I hope, this discussion that I tried recording here to be delivered, to be, listened to and understood. Provided I provide the photography that coincides, videography that I can apply, like showing that the stove is just fine. It turns on, it's hot, and a little steam and all that, pouring water over it. And there is no fan over top of it. There's no fan in the kitchen whatsoever. It describes something, because, we're talking about trying to get Alice home and trying to get her stuff back, and trying to, I'm trying to defend my home and family here, because pack of lies that were told, with detrimental intent, like I said, he described a fire. If this was something that he was planning, because the date on it it's not filled out accurately with the, the 08/blank/2024, meaning that, was he planning on dating this after this place gets burned down? Which, maybe wants me to be scared, I don't know, but it doesn't make sense when he's trying to describe me as being threatening and all that. When if you're to check with CCTV, I'm not being threatening. I'm kind of panicking, because I don't like being distracted from my main focus of trying to get Alice home and off of that horrible medication that's just a euthanization that I don't want happen. I don't want her destroyed. I love her, and this is going on where they're killing her and they're killing me over the mere possessions that they picked through here, stealing what they could. It doesn't make sense why this would ever happen. It's inconceivable, and it's nightmarish, and that would be why I'm panicking on the CCTV, because the guy's just going about doesn't matter to me, does he even know what he's doing? Seriously, I don't want to die. I don't want my common law wife to die either. alone in a hospital, shipped off somewhere. They are saying that she's not allowed to move back here. But when it's proven to me, like everywhere I went, they've told me that she was not evicted. And in fact, just a couple of months ago, I got a print off from Orange Hall BC Housing regarding our tenancy, and it clearly showed her coming up as the primary leaseholding tenant, and then under her name, spelled me. And thing is though, that when it was said, the description of why Alice's parents had come in and made such a video, which looked very staged, like they just trashed the place. And if you take a look at the items in the video, they are all personal items, no garbage. That day, they were apparently looking for her ID passport, which they didn't actually find, her U.S. passport. I'm holding on to make sure that she gets it. I'm not giving it to the hospital. She's coming home. This has been an absolute nightmare. So please, consider where I'm coming from, okay? Because, I've been injured for one thing. I've been lied about, threatened with threats that I was threatening. Like they're saying that I was being the one who's threatening, when that doesn't equate. Like I said, when talking about eviction, aren't they kind of saying that I'm the one getting abolished from BC Housing? And then for me to mention that abolishment could apply to anyone in this country, But typically, when people come from another country where they learned some just crazy criminal whack act to play out in this country and try and get away with it, because they slip in through the shadows, not being able to be described all that well because no one entirely knows them. Why describe them like that? Is because who would be afraid of getting deported? I mean, that's where all your family and friends are. That's where you came from. Unless you burned every bridge and, screwed over everyone before escaping to this country to go and do the same, then why would you be afraid to get sent back if you are intending criminal activity that you learned from where you just came from to bring to a new area that has never seen this type of activity before, and is horrified? Because essentially we're talking about a potential fire through this description on the inspection report, that they're planning a fire because the date isn't set right. I've been injured, which it's definitely appears like they're using lasers, because when I had blocked the laser beam with a jacket, why I thought to do that, I just had some type of suspicion, and that proved it to me. How would I be able to prove it to anyone else? Well, when talking about the properties of light, for instance, talking about permeable light, deflected light, and absorbed light, right? We can see that something definitely shot up through the floor, leaving these little burn marks. So, indeed, they look like some type of laser burn mark, I'd suppose, some type of energy directed energy beam. But the thing is, they have plenty more little methods and things like blasting pressurized gases, whether I don't know what they are. They make your smoke go out, some of them, and some of them are flammable and give you cramps when it gets blasted in your direction. So, and again, flammable meaning that to prove it's there, if you light a lighter and you see the flame make disturbance and it's not a smooth flame, that proves that there is an invisible that is, being applied. Because when you feel it and, you're like, are they doing this just because it's difficult to prove? So just know I'm of sound mind, okay? And I tried making documentation of this to prove what I was talking about, because permeable liquids as well, like formaldehyde, for instance, will pass through surfaces like ceiling, where then you feel something pouring on your head. And if you're to light a lighter, and the flame starts reacting to something hitting it, again, that proves it to be, because sometimes you'll notice the shadow of the liquid mirage cascading down. Not sure if I got that recorded, but why should I be the experiment in this of how it could be described? However, I must, because where did these injuries come from? I certainly did not do that to myself. I got these injuries inside the apartment. So, yeah, addressing my concerns, because I want my kitten flock, my Alice Jane Burton, to come home and be safe, because we just want our warm, loving relationship that has been on hold for about a year now. We talk on the phone all the time, but as time goes on, it seems like her thoughts are getting more scrambled, and that means that she has to get off that medication immediately. That way, her vitamins get restored, and I could help her along with the psychology, teach her associative thinking and associative memory. How it's like once bitten, twice shy. Okay, that's how an associative reaction would work, how our associative mind works. This is the fundamentals of psychology, which, that relates to good mental health. Now, if we had a good mental health act, that I'd be all for it. But it's ominous, not saying good or bad, because they are making killing off of killing everyone. And, I'm not willing to die. And I'm not ever going to let an involuntary attempt at my life ever again, because, and I don't want this involuntary attempt at my common law wife's life to ever actually occur. She is not to die. I am going to get this fixed, because it's very unfair, especially when they just inform me when I'm coming home, like, and they couldn't wait. Like, when I'm coming home, that they have to get in to take the bed because of bed bugs, when there's no way that they could have, even seen bed bugs at all. So this is what I mean. And these injuries I have are not caused by bed bugs, okay? They actually look like blisters, and they look like burns, cauterized, wounds and stuff like that. That could only be described as such. Anyway, yeah, I'd really appreciate getting this sorted out, because, yeah, I don't want to die. I don't want my common law wife to die, especially in regards to these angry letters of threatening hate mail that I received. And if I was to skim over whatever the last one said on, what is it now, the 24th, where, that one was, deportation. Like I said, I was just informing. I wasn't threatening. I was saying, look, I'm going to push for deportation, because, that way you're not stuck in a prison here. You go home to your friends. But yeah, that was the one that said violence means the attempted or actual exercise by a person other than the worker, and includes any threatening statement or behavior which gives the worker reasonable cause to believe they. So yeah, it describes that violence and threatening statements and behavior are. It doesn't even say not tolerated, but it says other than the worker, like it's kind of excluding them from the action of. So yeah, if they can't actually use English properly, it's not an offense because this is a second language for them. They're doing good, but they're obviously, if they can't like give a complete like statement where it doesn't say whether a person is having this type of thing happen to them, that shows the exclusion of which of blame falling on the worker. Then they can't actually understand, what is taking place, or what I say, or how to perceive what I'm saying. And yeah, when it describes me being like rude by saying cocky or snide or smug, arrogant, so I'm trying to describe exactly what I'm up against. And I thought I was sending it to complaints department, but it seems like Michael Ho is a complaints department. So complaining to Michael Ho about himself gets you nowhere. You understand? So yeah, little help, please. BC Housing seems to be a gang, a violent gang, and I'm not a masochist. I'm not going to play in their little domination summation game. I'm not into that. I don't want my attention drawn to them. I don't like, them like tagging me with a laser every now and then to make me be reminded that they're right there in the crawl space, or having my device all of a sudden go deleted and everything that I was working on. And the problem is, the Just Vancouver legal aid stuff that came in the email that all that stuff is deleted now. It's like they got into my stuff and started screwing around because I had a case number and everything, and now I can't find that. And they obviously thought I was regarding them, which really should be. Anyway, I think I've said enough. I hope you understand. Yeah, because after all, the tub itself, it's not damaged at all. If you describe it as dirty, what type of dirty are we talking about? We're talking about a little bit of water staining, a little bit of water staining patches or whatever that's probably brought on by like settled like comet, like from, because I tried scrubbing that stuff super hard. Like was it like that when we got here? I can never be for certain, but it's not that bad. Like everything they described was just so like they planned on burning the freaking place, probably with me in it. Like seriously, way of how they injured me and stuff like that. It really hurt. Okay, because I was naked. I was looking right at my leg. There was no bed bug. Like seriously, it was a directed energy weapon, like a laser beam, heat laser. Like look it up. Okay, I proved it to myself by using a leather jacket to be able to block the beam. Okay. Anyway, thank you, and I'll make another video describing the items that were taken. And those items, I can back it up with receipts I do have. Mind you, the receipts for the cameras got stolen, along with our, our SIN numbers in our tax previous years, our tax forms, as well as our bank papers. All of these papers and such, the personal papers, they got hijacked out of the drawer as well, which, that again puts us in compromised situation, which, hopefully by addressing the fact and addressing the concern that, we get some type of acknowledgement for Canada Tax Revenue Company to understand that at some point, there could be some, inconsistencies with our SIN numbers and our taxes. Okay, so yeah, major criminal action at attempted murder, and because Essentially, when you have a compromised immune system from an anticholinergic treatment, the compromised immune system could go either two ways. The lymphopenia, which equates to lymphoma because your immune system can't fight cancer and cancer overtakes, or neutropenia. Well, again, that's basically still your immune system being compromised, and the compromising of an immune system essentially is how we define HIV/AIDS, that by infection. Because you don't exactly die of a compromised immune system, you die of the infection that kills you from having a compromised immune system. So, yeah, that's how it's attempted murder. And I really want her out of the hospital situation. And when she comes home, our home be safe. And, free of these peeping Tom voyeurs who are watching to see if I'm doing any cleaning. How? Right? Especially when they know where I am to be able to hit me with a laser means, peeping Tom voyeuristic espionage.